Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for Reliquary Tender, so let's get into it. Alrighty, Reliquary Tender is one of the newest champions in the game, and she is a rare high elf, so we will go ahead and show her here. She's right here, the rare void support, but I do want to point out that currently she is part of the fusion for Alika. So I wanted to get this video out real quick because a lot of people are wondering, should I be sacrificing my RT? Should I be keeping her, building her, etc.? By the way, I'm going to call her RT maybe a lot during this video because Reliquary Tender is a lot to say. Side tangent, I don't really... If I were designing a character, I wouldn't make their name 6 syllables. I love you, Plarium, but should have just named her Reliquary or Tender or High Tender, you know, something, because Reliquary Tender, it just doesn't flow off the tongue. But anyway, that's a side tangent. I love you, Plarium. I'm sorry. I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, okay, so let me go ahead and pull this up here. High Elf. And here she is. So the first thing we notice is she is kind of like the sister of Spirit Host. We kind of got a very similar reskin here. So kind of like the good version of the Spirit Host. The Spirit Host is a dark elf, and Reliquary Tender is a high elf. So first off, we'll notice a 103 base speed is absolutely incredible for a rare. We love seeing that. We've got an A1 with a 20% chance of placing a 25% decrease attack for 2 turns. We can book that all the way up to, what is this, 30, 40, 50% to place a decreased attack on an A1. That's an awesome A1. Then we've got an A2 that removes all debuffs from all allies. Then place a 15% continuous heal buff on them for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So what does this remind you of? Bad Alcazar. Bad Alcazar has a very famous ability where he does this exact same thing, except he places 2 of each of these. He places the 2 15% poisons, 15% continuous heals, and he also places 2 15% poisons. So that build ability is one of the best in the game. This is kind of like an entry-level introductory version of Bad Alcazar's Malice ability. So a very good A2 here. And then this A3 is revive an ally with 30% HP and fill their turn meter by 30%. We can get that on a 5-turn cooldown. So we can also get a clutch resurrect if somebody, you know, dies to like reflect damage in the ice golem or something. We can get a clutch revive and keep the ball rolling in dungeons. So I do love that ability there. So let's go ahead and pull this up here. I've got this infographic for Reliquary Tender, and it's going to show the current masteries that I use on mine, the optimal sets, the stat priority, and then the grades that I have here. One thing I do want to point out on the masteries, this is a general guide, not a you always must build your character like this, because especially for this character, if you're going to be using your RT and the clan boss, you're going to build it much differently than I built mine. You're going to want Master Hexer down here, and you're going to go down the offense tree and get War Master. So I'm using my RT as mainly a defensive character in Faction Wars. Is kind of her main role on my account. So I built her more defensively and not really worrying about the decreased attack as much, getting the Hexer. So I can maybe go over that one if I pull up Masteries here a little bit later. I did want to point that out, though. This is kind of a guideline for how I play mine, but you need to tailor your Masteries to how you are using the character. If we look at the grades, campaign D+. I grade this based on their ability to farm the campaign, to like solo, you know, farm XP. She's awful at that, but she is good if you're trying to like 3-star the campaign. If you pair her with like your starting champion, she's got the ability to resurrect. She's void, so she's never weak. She would be great in that role. If you're looking for like a duo to 3-star the campaign, she'd be great, but she's an awful campaign farmer. So you can kind of, you know, see why it would have been like an F, but because of that little early game utility, I gave her a D+. Clan boss, she's okay. She's got an A1 that places the weaker version of a decreased attack, but remember, she's rare, and these are rare grades. It's not how they compare to a legendary. So to have a decreased attack on your A1 and be a void where you are never weak, that is great. And then she provides a little bit of sustain, so she gets a B. She's pretty decent for a rare against the clan boss. She's usable. And then the arena, she is pretty bad. She's definitely better on arena defense than arena offense, where she's an F, and then on arena defense, she'd be like a C minus. So I gave her a D plus. Dungeons and faction wars, this is where she shines. This is where you get her value. She's going to be really good in most of the dungeons. I will actually go through and do the grading of her live. When I pull her up, I'll go into the champion reviews. I'll talk about if I think her current grades are accurate, and then I will go through and grade her myself. Faction wars, she is an absolute A+ for a rare, because remember, we love rares that are good in faction wars because they're cheap. They're cheap to ascend. They are cheap to, invest books. Legendary and epic books are very expensive. Rare books you can acquire a little bit more realistically. So she is definitely one that would make a good candidate for your high elf faction wars team. So dungeons, faction wars, and clan boss are kind of where she performs best. So I will have that down in the video description if you want to take a look at it. And let's go ahead and pull up my RT. All right. Here she is. And okay, so the first thing we'll notice is with our RT, she's pretty simple to gear. We just want, and accuracy is not a super optimal set, but it's kind of the best pieces I have laying around to give her. So that's why you'll see the accuracy on mine. But we want just a lot of speed and sustain. And then whatever accuracy we can get is great. She doesn't have to have 230 accuracy like you can see on mine there. But getting as much accuracy as you can get after prioritizing speed and HP is kind of the way to build her in general, I think. I personally wouldn't really build her as a damage dealer because her only source of dealing damage is a one-hitter single target. So building her to do damage isn't really going to yield very much value. I would build her just strictly as a defensive support. But remember, if you are going to use her against the clan boss, you're going to want to go down the offense tree and work your way towards War Master so you can get those War Master procs to do damage against the clan boss. And you would also, build a little bit differently. You wouldn't have this one, the Bulwark, and you would want the Master Hexer so you can make the decrease attack last longer on the clan boss if she is filling that role for you. So there'd be a couple things that are a little bit different if you're using her in a clan boss situation or using her differently. So that is always worth noting on the Masteries. Alrighty, so now, I don't want to back out. Let's go over and kind of live grade her here. Oh, there's only 30 people that have reviewed her. Yeah, she's a pretty new champion. So I'll just kind of go through these and explain. Dragon's Lair, as far as a rare is concerned, she clears the dragon's poisons. Could maybe lower its attack and give you some sustain. As far as a rare is concerned, I'll give her a 5. Campaign, she's good for 3-starring it, but she's not a campaign farmer, so I'll give her a 2. Clan boss, I'll give her a 4. Not for a rare, she's good but not great. Ice Golem, I'll give her a 5. For a rare, she's got the cleanse to remove the healing reduction debuff, and she's got the revive for the reflect damage, so we'll definitely give her a 5 there. Minotaur, obviously a 5, because she's going to cleanse the hex that the Minotaur places, help you kind of sustain, and she can lower the attack of the Minotaur, so very good for a rare. Void Keep, we'll go ahead and give her a 5. She definitely can cleanse the poisons and all that. Force Keep, I'll give her a 4. Nothing really jumps out the board to me on that one. Magic Keep, she doesn't really have anything that removes shield or blocks debuffs, but she can help you sustain maybe a 3. Spirit Keep, kind of the same. The Spirit Champion places that block debuffs buff that she can't remove. I'm going to give her a 3, kind of similar. Fire Knight, she's definitely not good. She's got that A1 that's a single hit, so she has no multi-hit capabilities, and the decrease attack is nice, the sustain is nice. I'll give her a 2. Spider Den, again a 2. I don't see her being that great. Maybe for like HP burn strategies where you're really playing defensive because of her sustain and she's a void. I'll give her a 3, but definitely not a 4 or 5. Arena Offense, terrible. I'm gonna give her a 1. You're not gonna want to use her in that role. Arena Defense, I'll give her a 3. In terms of being a rare, it could be acceptable to use her there. So yeah, I think generally across the board, normally I don't always agree with the in-game ratings, but in this case, I think most of them were pretty accurate. And the longer the game is out, the more these are probably going to be accurate. And with RT being a new champion, you're probably only going to have like end game characters or end game people that are able to max her quickly, get her to you know, I think you have to be like level 50 or at least 5 stars to rate her. So you know, people that are able to do that quickly are probably semi-experienced. So the ratings are pretty accurate. Recommended artifacts. Pretty accurate. I like this. Yeah, 4 pieces of speed, 2 pieces of HP. Very important to get lots of speed on her. And then besides that, you just want sustain and accuracy. So yeah, I like the in-game ratings and artifacts. You know, the player base is doing a pretty good job on those 2 categories, I think. Oh, wait. So you can only rate, cancel. How do I submit? Go. Okay, cool. Well, that's interesting. It's been so long since I've done a rating, you have to actually click on the X to submit it. That's kind of interesting, but okay. I do want to at least show her in action here on something. So we'll go to the Minotaur. This is where I think she would really shine as kind of a rare. It would be one of her best dungeons because she can kind of cleanse the Hex and kind of place some heals on your team to help you kind of sustain a battle against the Minotaur and make progress there. So she didn't even get to go there. She didn't get to go on either of those waves. She will definitely get to go here. And we'll kind of see what she does here. Okay, there we go. She attacked the minion on the right and placed a decreased attack. So that was handy. Oh, that looks cool. I like that. It kind of looked like a little heavenly array. So what she did there is she placed the, you know, a debuff cleanse and then a continuous heal on our whole team. So I love that ability. It looks cool and it's a good ability with lots of utility. All right, and there we have it. So yeah, that kind of does it for this video. I wanted to do a quick video going over Reliquary Tender because she's kind of new to the community and a lot of people are wondering if you should be using her for the fusion or not. Gosh, she might be worth holding on to if you're a beginner or even like a mid-game player. You might get more utility out of her than Alika. So if you don't have her or if you don't have 2 of her, I would probably recommend keeping her, throwing her in your high elf team. And I know this will probably date poorly because people watching this video down the road are going to be like, what are you talking about with this fusion? So yeah, but anyway, she's a really good champion for a rare. She is in my excellent tier on my tier list. So that's kind of the bottom line. She's worth investing in and she's worth using. So yeah, I hope this video helped you out. And, you know, let me know down in the comments what you think, if you agree or disagree. And if you have any questions, drop it down there. I'll do my best to help you out. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.